Hey everyone, and welcome again to Summer with the Psalms in Oslo International Church. My name is Michael Stornag. I'm the pastor at OiC, and these summer Sundays we've been looking into the Psalms together, which is such a great time. I always look forward to it, and today I look forward to not speaking but actually getting to listen, as Jesse Ophoff is gonna get to share with us again. So let's hear what he has to say.
Hi, I'm Jesse Ophoff, and today I'm going to be talking about Psalm 37. And I've actually been reading this same psalm off and on ever since the beginning of Lent this year. And if I'm honest, it's probably been one of the main things holding me together. There are so many things to fret about right now, so many wicked and violent people, so many calls to be outraged. It's more than most of us can take. And in a way, Psalm 37 is permission not to outrage. It's the equivalent of the light on an airplane that tells you that you are now free to unbuckle your seatbelt and get up and move around. This is the telling you that the fret over evil button has been turned off and you are now free to rest in the faithfulness of God. Outrage itself is something that a lot of us find useful in the short term, but it's just that, right? It's a short-term tool. It's a heightened state of anger used for short-term, determined responses to injustice. And in that way, it's a lot like stress, which is something that a lot of us have way too much experience with, which is a short-term state of heightened anxiety to respond to urgent threats. And stress is really useful if you're being chased by a bear or you need to evacuate in a fire, but it's not something we're meant to live with. It actually wears on our bodies and on our souls when we live with it for a long time. And living with outrage is really similar. It's not something we're meant to do forever, even though it does have a real purpose, but that purpose is limited. But sometimes we look at the good that's been done in the world when people have gotten outraged enough, when society has gotten angry enough about an injustice, and we take the accomplishments of outrage maybe too seriously, and we see it as our go-to weapon of choice for social change. If you want something to change in the world, you just need to get enough other people outraged about it. And we also have the unique problem of carrying it around in our pockets with us at all hours of the day. The emotional drive and the emotional high that you get from going to something like a protest is now something that you're free to take with you all the way until you close your eyes at night and to pick up again as soon as you get up in the morning. Someone is always telling us that this is the way to a just world. Being outraged enough about the right things will fix the world. But I think a lot of us, if we stop for a minute, are honestly waiting for the end of outrage like we're waiting for the end of Corona. When will we be allowed to return to normal? When will it be fine and reasonable for me to act like everything is okay, even just for a moment? And this psalm gives us permission to lay down the weapons of outrage, not because evil has been wiped out, but because God has a better strategy for defeating it, one that doesn't ruin us in the process. By the undying, eternal, reliable faithfulness of God, the righteous will outlast evil. So now I want to turn to the text itself and go through some of how it brings this message to us. Psalm 37 is an acrostic poem, which means that each stanza starts with the next letter of the alphabet. In English, this is usually a kind of cheesy form. It's somewhere between Frank Sinatra singing "L is the way you look at me" and sixth graders practicing their vocabulary words by making poems that start with new letters. And but it has a very different function in Hebrew literature. It's a way of going back over a theme again and again and each time doing it from a new angle. So we're going to talk about the same things repeatedly, but it's a repetition that allows you to be thorough and allows you to sit and meditate and take it slowly. And in the first two stanzas of this poem, you've already gotten the whole theme of the psalm in brief. In Psalm 37, verses 1 through 4, "Fret not yourself because of evildoers. Be not envious of wrongdoers, for they will soon fade like the grass and wither like the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." And then it goes back and forth for a while between the righteous and the wicked, between the way the righteous live and God's response to that way of living in verses 5 through 9. "Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him and he will act. He will bring forth your righteousness as the light and your justice as the noonday. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself over the one who prospers in his way, over the man who carries out evil devices. Refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself, it tends only to evil. For the evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord will inherit the land." In the same way, it talks about wickedness, and that way and God's response to it in verses 10 through 15. It says, "In just a little while, the wicked will be no more. Though you look carefully at his place, he will not be there. But the meek shall inherit the land and delight themselves in abundant peace. The wicked plots against the righteous and gnashes his teeth at him, but the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he sees that his day is coming. The wicked draw the sword and bend their bows, and bring down the poor and needy to slay those whose way is upright. And their sword shall enter their own heart, and their bows shall be broken." So it reiterates again and again that God has a plan of prosperity for those whose walk is upright, those who are meek and defeated now, those who are cheated out of their rights now. He sees them, and he has a plan on how to vindicate them. And this is one of the Psalms that the Beatitudes draws on really strongly. And we just read, "The meek will inherit the earth." This is something that Jesus comes back to, and it makes us look forward to a future hope. It has something to say for how we live now, but it's also looking ahead into the way that things will be. But the wicked, whose goal is to plot and scheme to power now, whose way is violent, God will let be consumed by their own violence, by their own fire. And they have the weapons that they bring out to use against others will destroy them in the end. And then it goes on in verses 16 through 20 to say, "Better is the little that the righteous has than the abundance of many wicked. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholds the righteous. The Lord knows the day of the blameless, and their heritage will remain forever. They are not put to shame in evil times. In days of famine they have abundance. But the wicked will perish. The enemies of the Lord are like the glory of the pastures. They vanish like smoke, they vanish away." In other words, even when it seems like the righteous have little or nothing, what they have is still the better portion, and it will not be taken away from them. What the wicked work so hard to have, what they strive so fervently to control, they will one day lose. After this, you really get to see how the righteous and the wicked act, because until now we've talked about people who are righteous and people who are wicked, but we haven't really said anything about what that means, about how they are and what their way of living is like. And that's what we get to in verses 21 through 23. The wicked borrows but does not pay back, but the righteous is generous and gives. For those blessed by the Lord shall inherit the land, but those cursed by him shall be cut off. The steps of a man are established by the Lord when he delights in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be cast headlong, for the Lord upholds his hand. I have been young and now am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken or his children begging for bread. He is ever lending generously, and his children become a blessing. Turn away from evil and do good, so you shall dwell forever. For the Lord loves justice, he will not forsake his saints. They are preserved forever, but the children of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land and dwell upon it forever. The mouth of the righteous utters wisdom, and his tongue speaks justice. The law of God is in his heart, his steps do not slip. The wicked watches for the righteous and seeks to put him to death. The Lord will not abandon him to his power, or let him be condemned when he is brought to trial. So the wicked have this quality of neediness, of desperation, of acting out of want. They take in greed, while the righteous are always giving in trust. The wicked use their words to attack, speaking false accusations, bringing people to trial, while the righteous speaks justly and is defended by God. Throughout, the theme recurs that you can live with inner peace and with confidence even while evil seems to triumph in the world, because God is faithful and he is playing the long game. God is not concerned with 24-hour news cycles or with 4-year election cycles. God is concerned with a righteousness that transcends human history and which draws all things together for good. He's playing the long game and inviting us to have his perspective. The wicked burn themselves out, desperate to secure their position in the here and now, but this is not the way of the righteous. So it continues in verse 34. Wait for the Lord and keep his way, and he will exalt you to inherit the land. You will look on when the wicked are cut off. I have seen a wicked, ruthless man spreading himself like a green laurel tree, but he passed away, and behold, he was no more. Though I sought him, he could not be found. Mark the blameless, and behold the upright, for there is a future for the man of peace. But transgressors shall altogether be destroyed. The future of the wicked shall be cut off. The salvation of the righteous is from the Lord. He is their stronghold in times of trouble. The Lord helps them and delivers them. He delivers them from the wicked and saves them because they take refuge in him. And that's the end. And nowhere in the psalm does it diminish the reality of evil or the victory of wicked men. Sometimes wickedness does get you to the top in the here and now. Or the hardships of this life and the things that people really suffer through. Or the plight of the oppressed. It acknowledges all of these things. But instead of offering the short-term solution of outrage, which will burn you up before you can witness the downfall of evil, it offers us a way of peace, grounded in our confidence in the faithfulness of God. The fret over evil button has been turned off. You are now free to rest in the faithfulness of God. Go in peace.
May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face towards each and every one of you today and tomorrow and every day hereafter, and in every day may he bring you peace. Go in peace and serve this Lord joyfully.